Chapter 12, Finish Line. From Racer to Pace Setter. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Napoleon Hill. The American dream has not died or disappeared. It may look different today than it did for our forefathers. We have a global economy dominated by giant multinational corporations that can seem intimidating to small businesses. But new technologies has transformed how business gets done, and this has become an advantage for the independent entrepreneur. At its heart, the American dream still holds out a vision of freedom through personal responsibility, self-empowerment, initiative, and contribution. The dream remains very much alive. The illusion of security and stability. But there exists in our culture a widespread sense of resignation and cynicism about business and opportunity. I believe this results from the bill of goods we have bought about finding security and stability in working for someone else and climbing the corporate ladder. These ideas of job security and economic stability are illusions. Author and cultural heroine Helen Keller expressed this with characteristic boldness and clarity. Security is most superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Helen Keller overcame formidable challenges. She lost her sight and hearing at the age of 1. And though the specialists of her day would have doomed her to a life in an institution, she learned to speak and write and became an inspiration to a generation. Break free. Breaking free from those illusions of security and stability may take a concentrated effort if the circumstances of your life don't thrust you into a crisis. A few steps can empower you to stir up the kind of burning desire it will take to liberate yourself. First, get in touch with your why. Surround yourself with pictures of your loved ones and all that motivates and inspires you. Next, write out in detail how you imagine your life would be if you achieved success in your own business. Let your imagination run wild. Try to use all your senses. Include all the items on your bucket list if you have one, a list of all you want to accomplish, see, or do before you kick the proverbial bucket. If you already have an idea about how you could achieve your dreams, also write that down. But don't be discouraged if your plan is unclear or needs work. Remember that a clear vision, your what, combined with desire, your why, will attract the elements that make up your how. Finally, write how it might look if you stay in your present situation. Be brutally honest. Think of the contingencies that could happen. What would you do if, like me, you were suddenly unable to continue in the same line of work? What would happen if your job or your company got outsourced, downsized, or capsized? I don't mean to frighten you, but rather than wait for your ship to come in, sometimes it's wiser to swim out to the ship while you still have some energy, resources, and freedom of movement. I'm writing this at a time when the US economy has been floundering, and now economists predict the job market could stagnate for another decade. There are more people out of work in the US today than during the Great Depression. But as it turns out, times like these are very good for my industry because people flock to income opportunities when the job market fails them. You can take advantage of this movement and get ahead of the trend, or you can take your chances in the increasingly competitive job market. Yet this may be a time when the risk of maintaining the status quo outweigh the risk of entrepreneurship. As quality expert W. Edwards Deming warned, it is not necessary to change. Survival is not mandatory. If you have a mastermind group, share everything you have written with your group. Share your why, as well as your dreams, your plans, and the future you can anticipate if nothing changes. It may also help to talk about your fears of going into business for yourself. Have you failed before? Go public with your fears and your past experiences with the intent of letting them go and replacing them with confidence based on your ability to learn and to grow. That one more race in you. For those who have attempted and failed, what can I say to encourage you to give it one more wholehearted effort? If you are embarrassed because you've shared your dreams with loved ones only to see those dreams shattered, here's a piece of wisdom from someone who might seem an unlikely source of inspiration for an aspiring entrepreneur. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. This time will be different. This time you will build solid foundations for your dreams. You will draw that line in the sand and say, I'm never going back to that salt mines again. You will find that source of inner strength and faith to separate yourself from the pack. Determined to taste all the nectar you can wring from life, you will nurture that seed of faith and begin to trust that God, or the power of the universe, if you prefer, is for you, cheering you on and encouraging you to succeed. As you let go of doubts and fears, you will begin to experience the power of enthusiasm, literally meaning God within. Enthusiasm, wrote David Hume, being the infirmity of bold and ambitious tempers, is naturally accompanied with a spirit of liberty, as superstition, on the contrary, renders men tame and abject and fits them for slavery. You, belonging to that first category, will humble yourself and become a student of what really works. A new trend comes along and the masses sneer, but you take a closer look. You ask, what's going on here? What need is this meeting? What's changing in the marketplace? And as you study what really works and makes a difference in business and in life, you will discover your own strengths and talents and realize that you have always had so much of value to offer in the services of others. Along your way, you will discover many secrets to success. Though there may be only a few activities that add to your paycheck, you will learn that the way you perform those actions makes all the difference. You will discern what Wallace Wattles meant when he wrote that people get rich by doing things in a certain way. You will learn the power of gratitude and being creative rather than competitive. You will find your fortunes increase as your faith expands. As you let go of fears and limiting beliefs and open yourself to new ways of thinking and being, you will become a more attractive person. You will naturally attract all the necessary resources and people for your success. Even as you become increasingly aware of the gap between your own tender faith and the success consciousness of your mentor, you won't be stopped by the thoughts that paralyze others. Instead, you will press on with confidence, courage, and determination to grow and learn. You will feed your soul and mind daily on ideas like these. The important thing is this: to be able at any moment to sacrifice what we are for what we could become. Charles Dubois. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. We cannot put off living until we are ready. The most salient characteristic of life is its cohesiveness. It is always urgent, here and now, without any possible postponement. Life is fired at us point blank. Jose Ortega. You will wake up every morning with the realization that this is the day it all happens. There is no other time. Having compassion for you, you will devote yourself in business to working with those who have ears to hear, those who are ready and interested today in what you have to offer. You will tirelessly and faithfully sow seeds of hope and possibility and entrust the results to God, who faithfully gives the increase. You will find joy and satisfaction in being a service to people and learning to really listen and observe and care deeply for others. You will grow to love the process as you master the skills and actions that, with persistence, inevitably produce ever expanding results and success. You will learn to love the journey for its own sake and enjoy the wondrous gifts, the discoveries, and dividends along the way. As Marcel Proust wrote, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. In the end, we may reflect on our journey and ask, was it worth the trouble? From my experience, I have to say that achieving the goals I set out to accomplish might not be the greatest reward for having taken this journey. The lessons I learned, the person I discovered myself to be, and especially the rich relationships with wonderful people I gained along the way. These are my greatest rewards. I pray you will be so blessed. Whatever your journey holds, buckle up and enjoy the ride. Questions for discussion, reflection, and action. Number one, do you have one more race in you? And number two, what action will you take today to dramatically move your dream forward?